Well, former Blazers player Chris Dudley is running for governor 16 years after he first ran for governor back in 2010.
Our Celine Stevens sat down with him today to talk more about what he wants to tackle and why he's throwing his name into the ring now. Celine?
Tim and Stephanie, so livability, education, and the economy are the core issues Dudley told me he plans to focus on this morning. Now, he last came close to winning the governor race years ago, but he says despite all that time, he believes he can do it again.
I think one thing, I feel that leadership's part empathy, part accountability. You have to have both. And I would argue right now we have neither.
Chris Dudley is running as a Republican candidate for Oregon governor for the second time.
What I've been doing over the last couple months is going across the state, talking with different people in different areas and getting a sense of where things were. And there's just a real energy out there. And for me, the focus is it was hard to sit back.
The former Blazers player first ran back in 2010, losing to Democrat John Kitzhaber by a slim margin. Now he's trying again.
The word I keep hearing over and over and over again is lack of accountability in the state. And I think that's partly happens, and it can happen on both sides, is when you have one party control for so long. That sometimes it can get out of balance.
Alexander Ross, a professor at Portland State University, says this might be one of the most pivotal races in Oregon's Republican Party history.
But there's a big pivot here that's open for the Republicans, and it'll be interesting to see whether or not they take it or whether they continue in the sort of MAGA lane.
Dudley discussing his core issues revolving around the economy, education, and livability.
When we're in the bottom 10 of all the good categories and the top 10 in the bad categories, we need change.
While he's running against other Republicans like Senator Christine Drazan, Marion County Commissioner Danielle Bethel, and Representative Ed Deal, Dudley says he's not too concerned.
All the partisan, the name calling thing, we got to stop that. We need someone from outside who has the expertise to come in and say, hey, we can work together and we can solve this state's problems.
At the very least, he's going to make the race a whole lot more interesting for Drazan, because I think he will pull more votes from her side than Deal or others on the further right flanks.
When it comes to immigration,
well, where I lie is whether it's federal issues or state officials, state officers, to protesters. We all have to follow the law. We have to follow the state laws, the federal laws, the Constitution.
In terms of his positions, like you said, on ICE, that's going to come up, and that's a hot button issue I'm not sure he can evade very easily.
So Dudley kept reiterating that he's a solutions-based candidate, and what the state needs now is bold leadership. The primary election is on May 19th. Back to you.
And now he's in. All right. Thanks, Celine.